Let's first begin our entry into our 5C today by removing the two pentalobe screws on the bottom of the phone. There's one on either side of our lightning port. With our two screws removed, we can go ahead and bring in the suction cup. We're going to use this cup closest to the home button side of our 5C and take a grip of the outside of the phone. Grab a hold of our suction cup and pull up on the display assembly to begin our separation. Once we've got that separation started, we've brought in a plastic opening tool so that we can go ahead and continue that gap until the display assembly folds open from the base of the phone. With access now to the inside of our 5C, we're going to see that our display assembly connections are protected with a metal cover. There's 4 Phillips screws securing this cover. Let's go ahead and remove those screws. And then bring in our tweezers to remove the cover itself. Three connections total for our display assembly. We can pry up on each one of them one by one until our display assembly is separated from the base of our phone. When replacing the original display assembly with the replacement part, let's make sure that we transplant the home button as well as the front-facing camera and earpiece speaker assembly over to our replacement part before reassembling our 5C. Let's get started here with our transplant, beginning with our home button. The back plate for the home button secured with 2 Phillips screws we can remove here. And the flex cable has a small bit of adhesive securing it down to the base of our display assembly. Let's gently pry that up here with our tweezers. Let's now remove the home button portion itself. We can push it from the front side of our display assembly, breaking the adhesive free that's securing the rubber surround. Next, let's work on removing our earpiece speaker. The back plate here secured with 2 Phillips screws that we can remove. Bring in our tweezers to go ahead and remove that back plate. And our earpiece speaker should easily lift up out of the phone for removal. And now the front-facing camera portion is a little bit more difficult. Let's pry up on it, maneuvering it out of its housing. And there's a small portion of tape that we need to peel off the back plate for the LCD. Let's not forget to remove our LCD backplate here. 6 Phillips screws total. We've got 1 on either side of the display assembly. And then 2 on each side of the framework. There's a clear plastic ring that houses the front-facing camera. We need to pry this up from the location and make sure that we transplant it along with our front-facing camera to our replacement part. Let's begin our reassembly by setting in the clear plastic ring for our front-facing camera. Next, we can bring in the LCD backplate and secure it with its Phillips screws, starting with the one down by the home button. Then we have 2 on either side of the framework for the display assembly. And then the last one here down by the earpiece speaker and front-facing camera. With the back plate secured, let's go ahead and bring in our front-facing camera, settling it down into the clear housing. And then reapplying the sticker to the back of our LCD backplate. And now bringing in our earpiece speaker over top of this assembly. And then our earpiece speaker backplate that we can clip in place and secure with the 2 Phillips screws. Let's now begin our home button assembly by lining up our rubber surround and placing it in position on our new display assembly. Our backplate can go over top of this and secured down with our 2 Phillips screws. With our display assembly complete, we can now bring it into the base of our phone for reinstallation. Let's line our 3 connections up and secure them down into our motherboard, pressing firmly on each one of them to make sure that they're secure. Reinstall the metal protective cover over the connections and secure that down with our 4 Phillips screws. We can now bring the display assembly down to the base of the phone and line it up, using even pressure until the display assembly is now flush with the base. Our phone accidentally powered on, so it looks like we're in good shape here. Let's reinstall our 2 pentalobe screws, one on either side of the lightning port. And with the power now on our 5C, we can test for full functionality.